Welcome to the Empower Hour. I am your host, Hanifah, and
I'm Alqamar.
we meet here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. where we discuss taboo topics, things that happen in the Black community. So today we will be discussing toxic mothering. Toxic mothering. And this is a challenging topic because we're both mothers,
Yes.
Black mothers. It's not always comfortable to talk about this because sometimes when we discuss it, we're discussing ourselves and
Yeah.
things that we need to change about ourselves. So that is what we'll be talking about today. Please come join in the conversations. Any questions you may have, please shoot them out because we are watching the live. So are we taking calls? What's the number here? The
240-455-5934.
That's if you want to call in with any questions or you have a comment for us. So, Alqamar.
Yes.
Malik.
Hanifah.
Toxic mothering.
Toxic mothering.
Let's talk about it.
Let's hash in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of those taboo topics, and you always say that because it's such a matriarchal, we become such a matriarchal society
By default.
right? And it's that hands-off mothers.
Yes.
You know how dare you talk about my mother? You know, so whatever the case may be.
Yes. I think
Deal with it, cause
single parenting has kind of contributed to that. The single parenting that we see that's prevalent
yeah,
in our community has definitely contributed to that attitude of the mother is hands off.
Yeah.
You can't speak ill of mom. And I actually think having these conversations is good
Yeah,
because
me too.
it doesn't mean that we don't love our mothers. It just means that we want to do better than they did for
Correct.
those that are coming after us. That's all it is.
Correct.
You know, it's not, we're not crucifying them. We're not burning them at this stage.
You're right.
We're just having a conversation, and I'm sure if we had a really honest and transparent conversation with our mothers, some of them would own up to some of this and say, yeah, you know, I regret doing that. If I could do it over, I would do it this way.
Right.
So it's just healthy conversation.
Yeah, because we love our mothers.
Yes.
Despite the challenges that we found ourselves going through,
Yeah.
so it's all in love.
And when you become a mom yourself, you kind of have a little bit more empathy towards the
No
whole,
doubt.
the parenting journey in itself.
No doubt.
And you could probably look at your parents in a different light
Yeah.
as well once you become a parent yourself, because it doesn't come with a manual.
Yeah.
However, we have things that are passed on and we use tools. I like to say we have tools that are given to us, and we do utilize those tools. And this is what we're talking about. What are some of those tools that we just need to just do away with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, family. So of course we need you guys to join the discussion because there's a lot of moms out there, and every last one of us have a mom out there, or had a mom. So join our discussion. Type in if you have any questions or comments, or call us at 240-455-5934. What are we doing wrong?
What do we do? Okay, I'll come
I mean, let's just go. Just jump right in the pool.
No honey?
No honey.
Straight ginger.
Straight ginger. Raw.
I actually, what are we doing wrong? That's the thing. What do you think we're doing wrong? I wasn't ready.
Are you ready? You bounced that ball back in my mouth.
Right.
I always go. I try as best of my ability to dig up the roots, because I firmly believe, based on experience, that until we understand the root causes of why we do the things we do, we can't expect change for the better. We can't, because now we're just walking around doing things and don't even know why we're doing them. And so it becomes repetitious. It becomes a hamster wheel. It becomes a roller coaster ride. So until we dig the roots up to figure out what are we doing here, then we can expect more of the same. So I think one of the biggest root causes of our challenges when it comes to mothering is not taking our own history into consideration. How we were raised, how we were bred.
How and why. Yeah.
why the situation we stem from ourselves, because we tend to repeat the same patterns that our parents do if we're not cognizant of it.
I also want to, before we even delve really deeply into this, I want to really talk about why talking about mothers and toxic mothers is so important.
Okay.
We hold the culture,
Yeah.
all right? We are the teachers.
Yeah.
The first, we're the first source of life for our children.
Yeah.
Okay, we carry them 9 months. We feed them. We're the first teachers, everything for our children. So I don't want this to become a conversation, please, in the comment section about, let's not start a whole men too movement over this discussion.
Yeah.
We can talk about mothers separate from fathers. It is very possible.
Right.
Okay, so that's what we're attempting to do today.
Yes.
We
thank
are
you for saying
focused
that.
on mothers today.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, I agree with you as far as putting into consideration the history that we have in this country, and which has contributed to how we parent and why we parent. And this is why a lot of the way that we parent, the times have changed, even though a lot of our conditions in this country haven't changed much, but still there are some that have changed. And I think it's just adapting to that change, okay? A lot of the ways that our ancestors may have parented was through survival,
Right.
okay? Through survival. We're
Right.
talking about slavery,
Right.
okay? And I think a lot of how we discipline our children or how we would discipline is rooted in that. You know what I mean? But we have to also look at the damage that's being done because of it.
Yeah.
And I really think that women hold the power to undo a lot of this damage.
Right.
Yes.
So I see some of the things that we do that can be considered toxic to me is how we blame our children for a lot of the things that I think should fall on parenting.
For example,
Like when they cut up in school, or what's wrong with that child? They just need a good beating on them, or the bully, or you know what I'm saying. And we tend to want to take all of the punishment out on the child for the child being how they are. Without taking into consideration at all the home life.
but we don't even realize how much we've internalized the messages that we've gotten down through history, as if to say the only way that black bodies can be kept in line is through violence. And
Feed
that
them
is
into submission.
yes, and that is exactly what we project on, and we subject our children to. That is the mindset a mindset of our oppressors that we've internalized.
Right.
Okay, this child, the reason why this child is acting like this is because we have not beaten them enough. We have not disciplined them enough. We have not starved them of love and, and attention enough.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that black bodies can behave. It can't be any other reason.
Yeah, and I heard you say it so brilliantly once when you said, if beating was all they needed to get in shape, what about all these children that's grown now that been beat all they lives, but they still ain't go to straight and narrow.
That's causing chaos in the community.
Right.
Yeah.
So if beating was helpful, then I would think that half the people in prisons wouldn't be.
Yeah,
because most of them got beat.
Right, but I also feel like a lot of what we consider discipline in the black community is abuse. It is abuse, and we have normalized it, right? And it's kind of embedded in the fabric of how we parent.
Right.
And because it's normalized, we will have today adults that say, "I turned out well." And some of us that know these adults will beg to differ.
Yeah.
But because they have to say that.
Yeah.
Because we have to protect the queen bee.
Yeah.
We have to say we turned out fine.
And I think sometimes we do believe that ourselves because we don't even recognize the challenges within ourselves.
Yeah, but
the dysfunction within ourselves. So we really we be functioning in dysfunction, but thinking we're fine.
We're thinking we're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real.
And then and the reason why we have to tackle that, and the reason why that's problematic, is because if you think you're fine, then you're going to perpetuate the same violence onto your children.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, I turned out fine.
Right. Right. Hence the the children. Again, I think that instead of blaming the children so much, I think for what they do, how they act, and how they cut up, I think we really should be putting a lot more focus on parenting, on how they are being parented.
Yeah.
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 Again, root causes. What about using our children as weapons,
Oh boy.
as mothers?
We're talking about a co-parenting scenario here, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's the only way that I tend to see mothers weaponize their children.
I agree with that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That is the only time.
Yeah, that's the only time, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another time. I think that is the only time. It's sick. It's sick. It's sick.
Describe what we're talking about.
We're talking, okay, so weaponizing your children would be, you've parented a child. Maybe you were married, maybe you were just in a relationship, or maybe you guys were just in a ship that sunk. Okay? Nothing happened, but there was a child that came out of that, whatever that was. And so maybe the relationship didn't go the way you wanted to. Maybe your expectations weren't met. Maybe the dreams you had for yourself as being married and a mother and a wife didn't come through because whatever happened, that person could have hurt you. That's a big one. Or the marriage or the relationship just failed. And so now you're disappointed. Okay? So now you split. You go to the courts and let's say, for example, you decide, oh, okay, I'm going to hit you where it hurts in your pocket. So you use child support as a punishment.
I see.
You use child support as revenge
Good teaching.
towards the father. Or you keep the kids away from the father, or you poison their minds. You keep them away because most of the times, come on, let's think of when we were kids. We really don't be knowing our parents' business that much.
Right.
Right, we really don't. So parents may do a lot of things behind closed door, like ignore text messages, phone calls, whatever from the father, and then come to the kids
and say, your father don't care about you.
Right. Or even child support. You'll be surprised how many kids don't know that their mothers are getting child support from for them.
Right.
So their fathers don't do anything for them in their mind.
Yeah.
But because they're little. You're not really supposed to know that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at least that's how most of us are raised.
Yeah.
You don't really be knowing where your parents' money coming from.
And the sad part for me in all that is that the child suffers the most.
Yes.
The child suffers the most. It's like, I think we get so emotional and so in our feelings that we get tunnel vision and we don't even realize the path of destruction. We just destroying everything in our path, and our children is right there in the path. So they're being destroyed right along with everything else. And because I don't think it's fair for a child to have to choose between the love of their mother and father.
Yeah.
And when you do that to them, it kind of and I think about how I was when I was young and how heightened my emotions was about everything. You guys can remember when you were younger, any little thing. If somebody says you had a pimple on your nose in school,
Using your feelings.
you cried about that all night long. So that your emotions are so much more heightened because you're young. You haven't had the chance to control and harness them like a full-fledged adult would. So imagine putting all that weight and pressure on a child's heart and feelings and emotions that have to deal with adult issues because you can't see your father, even though they want to, for trivial and frivolous things. Money.
Yeah.
It's usually, most of the time, it's about that.
Yeah.
And
when I say when I say mothers who do this are sick, I mean that they're off their center.
Yeah.
Just like whenever our bodies are sick, something is off somewhere. Correct? Disease and all of that enter the body. Correct. So that when I say that, I mean they are off their center. Sometimes there's mental health involved, which is because that's taboo. Most people are going undiagnosed, and therefore the issues are not being addressed, but they're being played out in how they parent. Right. So, but I also recognize that a woman who does that does not know self.
Yeah.
does not know self, does not know the importance of the balance.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Don't realize that the stress and the strain that you're putting on yourself, because you've created a situation where a father is absent. You have marked him absent. He is not absent. You have marked him absent. So now you have to compensate for that. So now you have to step outside of your nature to become that. And then some of us wear it as a badge of honor. I'm this child's mother and father. No. You can never be that child's father. Never. Because you are not wired that way. You are not created to be that.
And it goes right again back into, again, I think it's abuse to the child, because the child needs both parents.
Yeah, but and how connected is that when you announce I'm the child's mother and father, Father's Day, you want flowers and stuff. Right? You want gifts on Father's Day as well as Mother's Day, right? Or you go on social media and you say Happy Father's Day to myself, right? How connected is the emasculation of our boys to that?
Yeah,
when you are announcing yourself to be dad and mom.
You rearing them up,
right?
That's what they're taking on. They understand that Daddy wasn't here, so it was good. Right.
And I find like a lot of us, and I just want to say this is why we have to address it, so we can start breaking some of these cycles.
Yeah.
Most of the times, a lot of women who do that, and it's because they themselves had missing fathers or absent fathers. And who knows, their moms could have been just as manipulative and done the same thing. And so therefore their idea of the importance
of a father
is not there.
You don't
so
understand.
It's very easy for them to be like, I'm just going to do this thing without this guy. He's not necessary.
And it's the same pool of people that will say, I grew up and I'm fine. I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, and I say to that, most of the times we're lying.
Yeah.
We're lying.
Yeah. What about half of the failed relationship being, if it's a relationship of two people?
Yeah.
But we don't ever want to take the blame.
Women?
Yeah.
Mothers?
Yeah.
Oh.
For the
we
relationship
never want to take
failing.
The blame?
Well, let me rephrase that.
I'm teasing. You know we don't.
Oh, okay.
We're always right. We're always right. It's always somebody else's fault.
Oh.
Yeah. And because of that attitude, I blame society for that. We're so pacified as women in this society. Yeah, well, no, we're pacified to the point where we're always victims.
Yeah, okay.
We are always victims.
I see your point.
So when something doesn't work out, automatically, because we're so perfect and we're so brilliant and glorious, and everything that we bring to the table,
it's magic.
It's magic.
Black girl magic.
Black girl magic.
How dare we?
For a fact we did not mess that up. Okay, these people just need to recognize a good black woman, a strong, independent black woman when they see one. And that's a problem too. That strong, independent black woman whole mass that we have going on, we need to do away with that, because that's also contributing to the idea that I could push him out of the equation. I could push him out of this. I don't need him because I can do this because I watch my mama do it. And you know something? I watch my mama do it, and I don't want that for myself.
And that trend I see is growing. That whole I don't need a man trend. That I don't need a man. I'm like, whoa.
Well, it's growing also as the empowerment of women. That whole movement is happening. You're seeing that growing as well. Yeah,
I can have. All I need is my toy. I got. I hear it a lot. I hear it a lot. I'm like, whoa. We don't even understand the imbalance of even the thought of that.
The essence. I mean, you have minimized our men down to their phallus. Their penises. Like, to say I have a toy, that means that's all you would need a man for. And that means that you don't even understand the energy as far as the masculine energy, which we all carry, both feminine and masculine, but you don't even understand the importance of the essence of that man in a child's life.
Yeah, for a holistic way.
So then what do you teach your daughters if you think like that? What do we teach our sons if we have that thought process?
Yeah, we see.
Right.
We see what's going on around here. But again, but not taking the blame. I see that a lot in relationships, and how, to be a split up, and everybody wants to blame the other. you know.
One of the things that when I was looking up doing some research, and I was looking at things that we say as black parents to our children, and one of the things that came up for me was, I brought you into this world, I'll take you out. Right? That's common. I think just that's common. You could go to the Caribbean and somebody in the Caribbean mom said that you could come here. In America, somebody black mama said that, or grandmother, or whoever, but somebody said that. And I thought about that statement, and I'm just like, why do we always have to threaten our children with violence? What is that? What is that? Do we not know any other way to discipline?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you something to cry about. We do that a lot with our boys too. Yeah, and in doing that, we're actually saying you are not permitted to feel. And not just feel, but express those feelings.
Right.
And then we meet these men. We women, mothers, meet these men. We meet these men, and then we complain. But these are the men that we're raising.
Yeah, it's going into.
It's a cycle.
The next question I had was, how do we contribute to our broken relationships? And you just gave a good example.
Yeah.
You just gave a good example of how that happens.
Because if you look, for me personally, I have sons. So if I'm looking at my boys, and if I'm looking at men, and I'm saying, wow, this bothers me. I see this lacking in a lot of our brothers. And I'm raising sons.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to figure out, why is this lacking? So that my sons don't become adults and still, and display the same type of behavior. What is it that's lacking?
Yeah.
Is it a missing parent, father? Okay, I want to make sure that I keep my household together. Is it the how am I? Is there demasculation? What does that look like? Am I doing that to my sons? Is it that I'm not allowing them to express emotions? Is that what's playing a part in what we're seeing in our adult black men, where their emotional intelligence is almost at zero? Then I need to make sure in my parenting, I am encouraging that, because I want my child to have emotional intelligence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I want some black woman out there to be lucky to have him.
Yeah. And if you guys are just tuned in, you are watching the Empower Hour with Hanifah and myself, Alqamar. We do this every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. And today's topic is toxic mothering. If you want to call us, give us a shout, 240-455-5934, and we'll get you in on the discussion. And share your points online as well. We see them all right in front of us. I'm so big on that, because I get how when we point the finger, there's no benefit in that. There's no benefit. Even if the other person is dead wrong. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of instances, that other person may know they dead wrong too. And then you pointing the finger and blowing it all up out of proportion can make matters even worse. But beside that, I think when we don't take the time to study ourselves and our behavior, we don't even give we don't even give ourselves the opportunity to change for the better. How can you, when you're not even open to another realm of possibility, that wait a minute, this may be something I'm doing here that I can just tweak a little bit to get a different result. And if we're not willing to look at ourselves and sit in what we're doing and really, really think about it, then we can expect more of the same.
Well, you just mentioned something important too, apologizing.
Yeah.
Apologizing.
Yeah.
How many times have your mom apologized to you, Alqamar? I'm 38 now. I could probably count on one hand. It's probably 2 times.
Yeah, that's real.
In this lifetime. Black mothers don't apologize. That's not what we do.
Yeah.
Because because we're clothing you, we're housing you, we're feeding you, we're working 2 jobs to make sure you're provided for without a male presence.
Yeah.
Okay, the absence of the male is a bonus for us.
Why you say that?
It's a bonus in the sense of we feel that we should be treated extra special because now we're doing it on our own. And that's exactly how we treat our mothers.
Wow.
Those of us who grew up with single parents,
Yeah.
that is the approach. You don't who speaks against the one person that actually stuck around to take care of, you know what I mean? Because we rather deal with crazy than deal with abandonment. We would deal with our crazy mothers, our controlling and narcissistic mothers, and we will protect those qualities in them, those behaviors. We will protect them. You better not even point it out.
Yeah.
Because we rather hold on to that and celebrate that, mask as strong black woman. We rather protect that than to deal with abandonment, which is the father not being there.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Even with children, I'm thinking about children who may have a dysfunctional parent, and that's the only parent, and it's either that or go into the system.
Yeah.
And most children will fight even if they're abused. Even if they're abused in every way, they'll fight like crazy just to stay with their parent.
Yeah.
Before they become abandoned.
Yeah.
Or separation.
That's dysfunctional.
Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just bought this is a little tidbit, but when I hear people say all the time to their children, because I said so. When a child asks, why? Mom, why do you do? Mom, why? Because I said so. That's all you need to know. And I don't want this be sitting up here like I'm the perfect parent, because I know, because I say
give you an example.
Because I say it. I've said it, to my children. But looking back and thinking more on it, I realized that I think that actually cripples a child's ability to rationally and critically think.
Because children naturally are curious.
Yes.
They're naturally adventurous.
Yes.
Their whys is not to challenge your authority. They genuinely want to know why.
No.
They really want to know why.
When we shut them down each and every time, you actually don't even give them an ability to think about what, you know what I'm saying? Or to learn and to become logical in their thoughts, because again, we are the first teachers.
Right, and then we're questioning why we see as young adults, no one is questioning anything. Everybody's just falling in line. We as parents, as mothers, we have to go back to that too. How are you parenting your child? It's because I say so. Because we like to reference ourselves or compare ourselves to the child. When I said I mean, the example would be, the best example I could think of is the child say, they're sad, so they're crying, like they're sad about something, and it's like, boy, if you don't stop all that crying, I should be sad with all these bills I got. How did you just do that? How did you just inject yourself and completely dismiss that child's emotion? But these are things we don't think about, because they come natural to us, because that's how we were parented.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's how we were parented. I mean, you could be sitting in a room full of black mothers, right? Just sit in the room full of black mothers, and we could do an experiment. If y'all feel like you'd do an experiment, and you could bring a child into the room and tell the child to, maybe the parent is with the child. Let's say a bunch of black mothers are there, and a parent comes in with the child, and the child is like, the mom is telling the child to do something, and the child is like, why? And the mom is saying, I said to do this, and the child is like, why? I can guarantee you that group of black mothers, they are going to make a judgment on that mother and a judgment on that child. God forbid the parent is white, because we good on that. Yeah, white folks
can't control her child.
Yeah, because
if
they
that
don't.
Was me,
but
I
why?
Smacked her upside
Why did
her
we say
head.
white folks children act though? Because they don't do what?
Beat them. They don't beat them like we
so
do.
now you have a black mother that comes in with her child. That judgment starts immediately, because we think this is normal.
Yeah.
We're actually looking at a situation and saying, what? That's because she don't beat that child. If she don't pop that child already, these are things we say.
Yeah. And family out there, if we're being honest with ourselves, we can take a look around and realize that something ain't right here.
Yeah.
Something ain't right. So instead of making it everybody else's problem, Hanifah and I have come to the table, and we are talking about what we do as mothers, and what we can do differently, to help change the trajectory of the course of where we are in this society and how we behave and act and the effects it has on our children. Because I said so, and I think a lot of times we do that because a lot of times we're stressed. We're stressed the heck out.
Yeah.
And we're impatient with our children because we don't, we got so much more to do. There's so much more on the plate. I don't want to, just be quiet.
So what are we doing then? We're actually trying to find the easiest way to control.
Yeah.
Because we don't have time for that.
Yep.
But think about that strategy as far as our oppressors.
Yeah.
Where they strategized and said, we're going to do this. We're going to do this to make sure that we never have to deal with uprisings. We're going to make them, think they're just dumb and just animals.
Right.
And this is their fate. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's a form of control. So as parents, what it is that we're doing is we're trying to instill fear.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to do too much. We need to talk about we should be able to just give a look.
Right.
But what if that child is not the child that responds to the look?
Right.
You know what I mean? All our children, and that's the other thing that drives me insane. Black mothers approach parenting like all children are created equal.
Yeah, that's true.
We do. Like there's a blueprint for all of them.
Because why do some children not respect their parents, you think? Why is it that some children will respect what a parent says and another one just completely, disrespect?
I don't know if it's, I don't even know, I think we're calling it disrespect. I think that's what we call it. But at least from my experience, what I've seen is the hypocrisy that takes place behind closed doors. It manifests itself as disrespect in the public. And when I say that, I mean like you're doing things behind closed doors and your kids know you better than anyone else. And then you go out in the public and you're just like this saint in the community. Kids get to a place where they find their voice. And that's usually adolescence. That's usually adolescence. I always say if you see a child fight back a parent, what happens, and we see this a lot with social media when certain videos goes viral, and I'm going to touch on that in a minute too, but where you look at the comment section and it's like, oh, this child, these young people, A, B, C, D, you could inject whatever you want. They have no respect or whatever.
Yeah.
Think about our community and how most of us are raised. We're not hitting our parents. Most of us are not doing that. So when you see a child fighting a black kid, hitting back their black mother, there's something that happened probably way back or still happening that you are not privy to.
Yeah. All you're seeing is the end result.
All you're seeing is the result. Yeah, exactly. To every action, there's a reaction, right?
Right.
You're seeing you could be seeing a reaction most of the time.
Yeah.
And when you dig deeper, you find out, oh wow,
yeah,
this. Now you might say as a black mother, that still don't give them the right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But now you're telling them how they should express that, emotion or whatever. I have had experiences where I have been in meetings with parents who wanted to foster. And one of the things that they couldn't swallow is when the kids say, I hate my parent. Or, and for a long time I kind of understood, but then after a while of just educating myself around certain things, I was like, no, allow them to express that, because you're telling a child whose parent pimped them out to respect their parent. That's black parenting. That no matter what mother does, she deserves respect.
That's your mother.
That's us. And that's a problem.
That's a good point. And I've talked to you before about my own personal journey through parenting, motherhood.
Yes.
And it wasn't easy. It wasn't always.
It's not easy.
Oh my gosh. And I was a young mother. I was 17 when I had my son. And I was 21 when I had my daughter.
Okay.
so I was, and I was always a rebellious child. So, even that child, wasn't one of them things where I was, looking forward to having a child and all that. And I know all that energy now, knowing what I know now, all that energy plays a part. When you're pregnant and you don't want, you really didn't want to be pregnant, and here you are and all that stuff. Well, anyway, long story short. So it was a challenge for a lot of years. And I made a whole lot of mistakes. And it got even to a point where I felt hopeless at one point because both of my children were acting. I was their teenage years, and they were both acting and cutting up at the same time. And so I needed help, and I didn't know what to do. And so I reached out and I took a parenting course, 6-week course. That was one of the best decisions. No, it was a community center.
Okay.
In the next city where I lived, but it wasn't too far from my neighborhood.
6 weeks.
6-week course. Yep. And I'm so grateful for that woman who taught that course. But anyway, I always tell the story that I went in there thinking, okay, now I'm going to get all the tools I need so that,
get these kids in order.
Get these kids in order. Now they're going to listen to me because, they're going to learn now. They're going to, and when I left, I realized, wow, I was the one who needed all the help. I was the one who needed fixing. I was the one who needed the tools for me. And so that was what that course taught me. But on top of that, I'm hearing you talk, and I was thinking about how, because my children at one point, especially my daughter, woo, we used to go head to head. And she was at that phase where she couldn't stand me. She used to tell me that sometimes, And looking back, I think the root of that stemmed from them not having the attention they needed from me. I wasn't there. I wasn't there as the doting mother and their cook breakfast and tuck you in at night and I was just on a grind. I was hustle, grind, and look, what I'm saying, take this money, buy yourself some lunch. I'll see you at 9 p.m. And I parented like that throughout most of their lives. Okay. Most of their lives. And what happened was mostly my son took that and he can't. It was different for him how he expressed it. Okay. But my daughter, it turned to anger. Okay. And rage sometimes against me when I didn't understand it. But again, so I say all that to say, it's important that our children know we there for them, know we listening, know we love them. You know what I'm saying? Not just basically I got a roof, you got a roof over your head, I buy you clothes, you eat every day. You should know they need more from us.
We celebrate such basic things.
Yeah.
That's basic parenting.
Yeah.
Those are things you are supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as black parents, we need to stop acting like because we did that, our kids owe us.
Yeah.
Your child don't owe you anything.
That's right. It's
they don't. You do what you got to do and release them. Yeah. And what happens a lot of times is that, like you said, you've grown, and now you're looking in retrospect. You're like, wow, that's where I messed up. And now you can talk to your daughter who has a child, and you can teach her. Well, look, I'm telling you this because I didn't do this for you.
Yeah.
And now I know better. I ought to do better. Even with you're gonna be parenting, I like to say grandparents, co-parents, as well with parents. So you know how to approach it a little bit different. If we do not check ourselves, deal with it,
so important,
heal from some of our own childhood traumas, from our own mamas. Okay, if we don't do that, we're gonna find ourselves even as adults, and our kids are grown. Right. We're gonna find ourselves being toxic mothers still.
Right.
Because our kids are still not gonna be able to come and talk to us.
Right.
They're still not going to be able to process things with it. We're still going to be judgmental. Yeah. We're still going to be shutting them down when they try to express emotion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then what happens is you find that your kids don't come and visit. They don't really want to be around you. Or when your child talks about something that's going on with them, you find a way to inject yourself. You could tell a toxic mother or a narcissistic mother by the manipulation.
Yeah.
Right? So your child is actually telling you, Alqamar, mommy, this is how you made me feel when you did this, right? And you can't receive that.
Right.
So you turn it into a whole woe is me party. You know what I mean? Oh, so now I'm a bad parent. Oh, so now I'm a bad parent. After all I've done for you, you've done what you were supposed to do. I don't owe you anything.
Yeah, and what happens is that child walks away feeling even worse. They walk away feeling even worse because they don't get the nurture that they needed, especially from a mother, from a woman. And
ooh, yes, because that's expected, because it's almost like we're wired to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you come in like, mommy, you know, they already exposed, feelings exposed, and we already talked about how heightened the feelings are to begin with as children, and then we shut them down. They walk away feeling even worse, and then it comes out in other ways. So they act up in school, or they go looking for that love that they don't get at home through boys if it's a girl, or through girls if it's a boy, and you know they come into their toxic relationships themselves, and then here we go with another cycle.
Yeah, and you know something, when you decide to parent differently from your mother, it's a challenge, because when black mothers decide to change, right, or to not continue a certain cycle as far as parenting, you are deciding to kind of push away a whole culture, because we've made this culture. This is what black parents do.
No doubt.
It is a challenge. It is a lonely journey. Okay, because you may have people around you who are black mothers too, and they've decided to just adapt or take on what their parents did, even though they might have an issue with it, you know. So it's a challenge when you have, I know for myself it is, I check myself, I grade myself as a parent. I have to. I would definitely be like, yeah, I got a D today. And I have even black mothers who are friends of mine who are around me, that when I say certain things, they might roll their eyes at me or look at me like, girl, please, you'll be fine. But no, it's more so an internal assessment of myself. To say, okay, that was wrong. I totally got an F minus. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to strive to bring that grade up, because I know that that thing was wrong. Or I might have to go on, I might owe my son an apology. I might owe my son an apology. And what we don't understand is how we treat our kids. We are teaching them how to treat others. How we problem solve. How we resolve conflict in front of them. We are teaching them how to do that as well. The same thing. You know, you have the parent who, I mean, they're going upside the child's head just about for every little silly thing at home, right? And then the school keeps calling about your child putting their hands on people, and you go up into the school like Mother Teresa. Like, I have no idea, none, where they could possibly get this from. It could be the television. You know, I'm going to decrease their television, you know, how much time they're watching, because that might be what's contributing. No, mama, it's you. Because when that child just said boo, or the child fell, kids are clumsy. You know what I mean? Or the child asked a question that made you feel uncomfortable, or a question that you didn't know the answer to, you pop them. You know what I mean?
Or holler and scream, and that's trauma too. Hollering, cuss them out, call them all kind of names, and you know, when we aren't in our own, we're not controlling our own emotions. I think it's important to learn from our parents' mistakes.
But most of the time, we don't know if our parents, if it was a mistake, if they don't own it as such.
Like going back to apologize.
If our parents don't see it as a mistake, like they're like, no. How I parented you was right.
Because what I had to do, I really had to go back into and really assess, you know, how I was parented. You know?
How was that? Isn't that difficult?
It was. It was difficult. You know, although my mother and father both were loving parents. My mother had 8 children. And my mother and father were together until I was about 15 years old. And you know, but it you know, became challenging for them too. You know, my mother, you know, trying to raise 8 children, you know, although my father's always been there, you know, but and then I go even further than that, and I think about, wow, I wonder how she was parented.
Of course.
You know?
Of course.
So it's her and him.
Most of the times when we have parents who are lacking as far as emotional expression, as far as nurturing their children, they weren't given it by their parents. You will always find that to be true.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you were raised in an environment where expressing emotions were tolerated. It was okay.
Yeah.
You know, or you were loved on, constantly hugged, constantly told I love you, for you to then become a parent that's cold.
Yeah.
That's rare.
Yeah.
When you see cold parenting, it's because they receive cold parenting. It's just a cycle. So it's just for us to get to a place where we see it for what it is. Talk to your other girlfriends that have kids.
Right.
You know, when they come to you with certain things and you know it's toxic, call them out in it.
Yeah.
But don't just call them out. Some of us, you know what I've learned? Some of us, we don't need someone to come in and just point out what we're doing wrong. We need to be given alternatives, solutions.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, this is all I know.
Right.
Because most of us, this is all we know.
Right.
So if you just come in with you doing that wrong and you're not giving me an alternative,
Stop doing
it's not
that.
a conversation, it's a judgment now.
Yeah.
And so then I become defensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why I think counseling is effective. I didn't even realize it was counseling I was doing when I did that parenting class, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was actually a counseling session. It was actually a group session, and that made me feel better too, because when I saw
You weren't
all
alone.
right, I'm like, dang, I ain't know you were that messed up.
Yeah, and that's why when I talk about this topic, it's we.
And you know what else I realized? It was people from all walks of life, all different spectrums. White men, Asian women, I mean, you name it was in that class, and that made me feel a little better, because I was like, oh, dang, I ain't the only one. So I was able to open up a little more, because other people had the same issues I did.
Right. I wrote down, like, what is a toxic mom when we're going to talk about this topic, and the first thing that came to me was master manipulator. They just manipulate, control freaks. You know, they have to control, and a lot of that control thing is connected to childhood trauma. You trying to control the environment around you because you didn't have any control when you were young.
Interesting.
Okay, for whatever it is happened in your household.
Right.
So there you have humiliation. I don't believe in public embarrassment of children. I do not subscribe to that at all. I hate it when I see it. I hate it when I see the videos of it. I hate when I see us cheering these parents along in these videos. You know, because you don't even know the backstory. All you see is, well, they said that she did this in class. You know, so now the issue of the child being caught in the stall giving oral sex to the boy is no longer the issue that we're addressing. We're now focused on that child was deserving of that whooping that we just saw on that video that went viral. So no one now wants to touch the issue of why would a 13-year-old be in the bathroom stall giving head to a boy. We don't know. That's not even on the table anymore. What's on the table is these children need to learn to respect themselves, and yes, she deserved what she got.
No root cause. The root, again, we now focus on the root issues.
Exactly. And in my mind, sometimes when I see, especially the boys, when I see parents like videos and I see like the child like push back, I think of just any human being. Okay, you constantly being beaten because you're little and you can't really defend yourself against this big person.
Right.
And now you find yourself 6'2", and your daddy's still 5'10". And he decide he gonna put, you know, or mom. Now you've taller than them. You in the same. You're the same size as them now and everything. And you're thinking, no, I don't have to take this. And that's what I'm saying. We're coming on the tail end of it.
Yeah.
But that child has endured 16 years of, I like to say, abuse.
Wailing on them.
You had a bad day at work, and so you come home, and I just happened to say the wrong thing. Pop. I've read stories of children being hit with pots. Like, what? But you know what? That's no different than a tree branch. And that's like really common around African Americans, where they say you go and you get the switch. You know, I'm like, I don't know about the switch part. My mom never beat me with a switch, but she had this old ugly leather belt, and she wore that thing out. To the point where the thing looked like an animal's tongue by the time she was done with it, and she tossed it because it broke eventually. But I'm like, but everyone has that story of objects. You know, being hit with objects. Black children.
How do we broach the matter of our relationships just being so frail, and that we bring children into them and then they just don't last, and then that's just become, it's like single parenting now is the norm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the exception to the rule, it's the norm.
Yeah, and I think, and that's why I'm
and
always
where does
careful.
that stem from?
I'm always careful with the co-parenting thing too,
Yeah.
because I personally have a good co-parenting relationship with my son's father.
Yeah.
I'm very careful. It depends on who I'm talking to, because what can happen is they can look at certain co-parenting situations, like a Jada picking their situation, or I think what's the lady that the one singer? Why do I want to say Aaliyah, but it's not Aaliyah. Of course, it's not. But she don't wear the makeup anymore.
Alicia Keys.
Alicia Keys. Like, you see certain co-parenting situations, and then you look at that and you say, well, we could do that. And I really feel like, yeah. And so you break up your home because you're fantasizing now. You have a fantasy, you have a vision of how this is going to go, right? It's going to be like the Jada and Will's situation, or my situation. So I'm very careful with that, because it's the best situation is two parents.
Right.
There. Because we talk a lot.
Anybody breaks up thinking that, you know what I'm saying, it's better we just split up and be outside and be friends.
Well, don't you hear people say that was for the best?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
people
not for the best. When they say for the best, not necessarily for the kids, but for both parties involved.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like if you could keep your home together, you can. I'm actually leaning more on the side of sacrificing your emotions for your children. I'm leaning more on that side, surprisingly. Yes, I don't know. That side is winning me over for some reason.
That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother topic. Yeah, but I let me just say, I understand why people do it. Why people do it. For example,
people do what?
Why people stay together for their children.
Okay.
Something as small as dietary stuff.
Yeah.
This is just an example for me. I'm vegan.
Yeah.
I cannot fully feed my son a vegan diet because his dad ain't with it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like you can do.
Right. Now, if we were together, then the woman controls the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
At least for the most part, at least that's how I see it.
Yeah.
So then I could kind of like win him over, even if I get him down to fish. You know what I mean? But I can't do that now.
Yeah, and not only you could.
That's small, but it's still big.
Yeah.
And that's just one example. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wrote this down because I don't even know how it fits into the conversation. But I wrote down, our fathers weren't there to protect us from conniving men. Meaning, I was thinking, again, I don't even know if it fits, but meaning that I think a lot of times we choose mates as men, without, and then it don't go well because we don't really have the roadmap that we could have had if our fathers were in our lives. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
it does. So the pitfalls, or the men that may come into our lives that don't mean us well, you know what I'm saying? We aren't able to actually see that as well as we would if our father was there.
So now, because in the beginning of this program, we said we are not going to inject men and what men are not doing. Wait, so I'm going to ask you, connect that back to toxic mothering. Because I hear what you're saying, but I'm trying to see the connection.
Yeah, that's why I said it may not even fit. You know what I'm saying? So we'll table that for another discussion.
Okay.
Where do we go from here? What advice would you give to parents who are out there and maybe a little bit struggling a little bit and want to be better?
Personally, if you have issues around how you were parented, you have to confront it. You have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because whether you believe it or not, it's going to affect how you're parenting your child.
Yeah.
Even something as small as saying, because you focus on not becoming your parent, now you're parenting your child out of fear of becoming your parent. And we should be parenting out of love always, not out of fear. It shouldn't be fear-based. So even something as small as that. So for me, educate yourself, like you talk about parenting classes. If they're parenting, and me personally, for our teen moms, and most of us know teen moms, and instead of trying to help them and show them, point them in the right direction, we're judging them. Think about the mind of a teenager though. But all we see is a mom, but that's still a teenager.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If you know teenagers or yourself, you are a young mom and you really never got a chance to heal. You never really got a chance to really confront some things within your teenage self, because that little girl is still there.
Yeah.
That little girl is still in there. Pick up a parenting class. Create a sisterhood around other parents mothers that you may look up to and say, I like the way they parent their child.
Yeah.
Yes, educate yourself. Their information is out there.
Yeah.
It really is. There are books out there. If you decide to do things different from your mother, don't feel guilty about it. Explore that.
Yeah.
Explore that. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with all that. I think those of us who know better have a duty and responsibility to step up and help. Like one of my goals is to create like an after-school moral etiquette class for girls, for young girls, just to teach them some of the basics in, how to respect themselves.
You're sort of doing that from your own home right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Starting with home.
Exactly.
Starting with my own nieces and stuff like that. So I think that's important to those of us who know better. If you're out there and you're hearing what me and Hanifah saying and you're agreeing to everything and this is how you parent your own children, consider stepping up and taking some mentees, taking some children and helping them. And
I challenge our viewers, if you can, encourage a mom today. Encourage a mom today, especially if they're a single mom. Just encourage them. You may not like the way they're parenting. I know for a fact what I make it my business to do with young mothers, specifically teen moms. If I see a certain quality in them, I like to kind of like shed light on that and just say, wow, you're going to be a pretty awesome parent.
Yeah.
With that, because trust me, they already have the world judging them as teen moms, and they know that.
Right.
So what they need now is they need to hear different voices, more encouraging and positive voices in their head, because trust me, they already have all those negative voices and their own voice judging them. Yeah. So if you can, just encourage a mom today. And if you're a mom and you're struggling, like Alqamar, you was talking about when your kids, most parents struggle when the kids hit adolescence. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to other parents, because what can happen is when we're going through it, we think we're the only person that's going through it.
Yeah.
Until you meet others and be like, well, what? Your son did what?
Yeah.
He blew the whole car up. They're fine. Yeah. So talk to each other and then try to encourage each other. As women, we could work better on our sisterhood. We could do better in that area. Yeah. And I think if we can solidify that and get that under control, then we can start helping each other out as far as parenting is concerned.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would also say to study your family history.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, look for ridges in that quilt, that family quilt.
And certain pathologies.
Look for the pieces of the cloth that's pulling and it's just not quite perfect, and study that. Study to sit in that and learn from that and fix it.
And ask.
And ask questions.
Most of us don't know our mother's stories.
Ask your mother's stories. Yeah, and then I would also say make sacrifices with your time and attention. A lot of times these days we put entertainment above parenting or above, doing some of the things we should be doing.
Engaging our kids.
Engaging our children. And we would, and I understand it's a lot of pressures in the world and we all want feel-good moments. And sometimes we get addicted to them feel-good moments to the point where that's all we want to do is feel good. We want to go to the movies. We want to play.
You can't have me time 30 days in the month.
Right. And then the meantime and between time, the life skills of our children are suffering. Yeah. So I say, sacrifice your time some. Instead of, instead of going to that concert or going to the club, take that time to, hang out with your children. Those we need to connect parenting to legacy. Yeah.
That's a big part of it. It's not about you, it's about the future.
Yeah.
Generations to come.
Right. Yeah. And I also, and then lastly, I would just say, I don't know how much we control this per se, but the school curriculum. I think a school curriculum should be reflecting today's times. You know, the things that they learn in school, math, science, English, language. Okay, now what about, you know, mental health at this point? What about, you
finance?
Yeah, some of the things that that schools or educators can be teaching that can help in you know, benefiting our children's lives a lot better. That's all I have, family. That is our Empower Hour. Thank you so much for tuning in. If again, if anything we said that you that resonated with you, please share the information. We can be found on Facebook under the Empower Hour Talk Show, and we also have a YouTube channel under Miss Free the People. We please encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're attempting to get our numbers up there. Again, that's Miss Free the People, and you can see all our past episodes on that station.
Well, until next time, we will see you guys next Wednesday at 2 p.m.
Yep.
And we look forward to hearing from you and having more conversations. So,
Peace.
peace.